September 20th.
We're still on Halloween time.
We are.
Mm-hmm. Pardon?
Is it stuck?
Spelled CASP wrong.
How can you? Hello, Bellows Falls, and welcome to the feed. Here we are. It's Thursday morning, the day after Election Day. Things have changed a little bit on the national front, pretty much the same in Vermont. But I think it's generally positive. I hope that people think that. At least I do. We're here. We are on November 7th. We're going to talk with Dorothy Leech and John Bohannon today about CASP, which is the Community Asylum Seekers Project. This is a really important project happening here in southern Vermont. It happens to be one of my neighbors is actually involved in the project, so I have some familiarity. I see some people. But first we're going to do local events.
Okay, we have just a short amount of local events coming up. Charles Henry's Final Curtain opens up this weekend. Very excited about that. We've been kind of following the performances and the history of the curtain. So November 9th, 10th, 16th, and 17th at 7:30 p.m. November 11th and 18th, they'll do a matinee at 2 o'clock. And if you want to get tickets, you can call Main Street Arts at 802-869-2960, or you can go to mainstreetarts.org and order them. And they have a simple ordering process. It's really easy to order online. So I would highly recommend it.
Yes, I've been going to the rehearsals, and it's going to be really
it's
good.
Be a good show. And then Thursday night, if you want to see Mike doing his best Bee Gees impression, you can go to Wunda Groove, a new thing they're doing down at Wunda Bar. I believe it's about one Thursday a month. They're calling it Wunda Groove. It's a dance party from 9:30 to 11. It's pop and disco. That's probably when Mike's going to be there. And then from 11 to close, it's going to be house music. So
That's great.
something fun and exciting.
And next Thursday, what's happening?
We are having the world premiere, not just the local premiere, but the
world
world premiere.
the world premiere of Strange Events at the Vilas Bridge, Episode 2, called Fracture. I don't know if you remember, last year we did our Episode 1, and this year it'll be Episode 2's premiering along with award ceremony for all of the producers who work and produce and create things for Fact TV.
And create videos.
And create videos. So it's going to be a big event. It's free. I know people like free events. And it was, last year we probably had 200 people show up.
We had a good
I'm
amount.
hoping we have a bigger amount this year because it's a great show and it's great to recognize all our producers. We'll be doing some video clips and some skits and things like that. We'll be talking about that more later. But
Speaking of video.
Thank you guys for coming. Can you tell us a little bit, just a general idea of what CASP is, the Community Asylum Seekers Project?
Sure. You want to tell them or should I tell them?
Let me start out. And
Go ahead.
Fill in whatever I forget. We shelter families who are asylum-seeking families. They come to the border and ask for help. They've got to run away from some violent incident or persecution in their home country. It's gotten so bad that they give up everything to come here, bring their children, and we surround them with a supportive community. We make it possible for them to be freed from prison, and we give them a life.
Mm-hmm. And I guess we'll get more into the process, but it's really important to know that these people have been through part of the process already, and they've been considered, at least eligible for being considered for asylum.
Sure.
Yeah.
When they cross the border, they have to go before an administrator and tell their story. And this is called a credible threat interview. So they have to have a credible, believable threat that authorizes them to stay in the country. And so that's what happens. And then if they have a friend they can go stay with, they do that. If they have a family they can go stay with, they do that. But if not, then they stay in prison, detention, for as long as 3 years or so. So what we're the friends.
Yeah,
That they can
that's
come and stay with.
wonderful
Yeah.
cause.
Would you say the majority crossing does not have friends, or the majority does?
I don't
Do you know
know.
what the percentage is?
I don't know
Yeah.
that.
But
Even those who have friends, sometimes, or family, it's challenging to them to put them up. We just received one woman and her child who were staying with relatives, and the relatives just couldn't sustain.
Right, yeah, because
the
you have
amount-
people that may have been in a similar situation.
That's exactly,
not
and they're just
very
not
long.
economically
Yeah,
well off,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and so it's difficult. So we get hosts here in our area to put them up.
Well, great.
Yeah.
You guys have prepared a film,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought we might show that now. Alex is going to cut to the film that you guys have prepared for yourself, and we'll go to that now.
So they came in the middle of the night with guns. They had guns. They said they will kill everyone in the house. My mother-in-law, my 2 young children, and me. They said they would kill us to show what happens when people refuse to do as they say. I begged them. The children are so young. Please, I begged them. And like a miracle, the leader points his gun away and says, maybe not tonight.
Asylum seekers, they come here because they have no choice. They come here with the clothes they are wearing and not much else.
I went to the police, who said, no, they can do nothing. Something must happen. Somebody hurt, somebody killed, or else they can do nothing.
They give up friends, family, everything they know, hoping for safety, for a place where they can be safe.
I decided to run. We left everything. We ran and ran. So much happened. And now we are here in the United States. And we know no one here. Maybe if it was just me, I would have stopped, given up. But the children need to live, to be without fear.
International law and the laws of the United States direct us to take in and to shelter persons who have a credible fear of persecution or death. This is the law, and we have a legal and a moral obligation to follow it. My name is Maeve Campman, and I'm here with Jim Gay and John Bohannon. They're members of a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting asylum seekers. John, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Well, we're called Community Asylum Seekers Project, or CASP. About 2 years ago, a small group of us here in Vermont recognized that there was a problem. And the problem is that asylum seekers coming to this country without resident supporters, family or friends, might spend years awaiting for a hearing, and they could spend that time in prison.
If they have no one to sponsor them here in the U.S., they can be held in prison until their claims are resolved, and as John says, that can take years.
Prison? For seeking asylum? And that includes the children too?
Yes.
So, Jim, can you explain the role of the organization in all this?
Sure. CASP is an all-volunteer nonprofit corporation. We sponsor people who have no other U.S. sponsors.
People in our community volunteer to act as hosts, offering space in their homes or on their property to house the asylum seekers. We provide clothing, food, educational, medical, legal, and other support.
At the same time, we help these people become independent. After a period of time, the laws allow asylum seekers to get jobs so that they can have their own living spaces and support themselves.
We try to make that possible. So far, we've taken in about 6 asylum seekers, a single woman, a small family,
A mother and her 2 young children.
and a second family of 2 adults.
And you provide everyone with everything? How do you do that?
Members of our community have stepped up, people have volunteered, offered their homes, medical facilities offer health care, legal firms have taken on cases pro bono.
It reflects, call it a core value, a vital part of who we are as a nation. We help each other, we help those in need.
Sounds like a lot of work.
But one that gives us all a great deal of joy, Maeve. Do you see those 2 youngsters back there? A few months ago, they were sitting in a cold Texas prison with their mother, wondering about their future. Now they're here, they're going to school, they have friends.
And their mom is here teaching us New Englanders all about how you cook with chili peppers.
And they're safe and they're free.
And that's really what matters.
John Bohannon, Jim Gay, thank you so much. We've been talking with leaders from Community Asylum Seekers Project, a volunteer nonprofit operating in southern Vermont. But even with the greater volunteer support, CASP needs funding. They estimate it takes about $10,000 a year to shelter a family. The more money they receive in donations, the more asylum seekers they can sponsor. And that, of course, is where you come in. You can join them in their effort through your donation. Big or small, it doesn't matter. Donate here on this site, or go to our website to learn more about this organization. And thank you.
Well, that was really interesting. A great
That was a good
film.
video.
Yeah, that was really good. So how long have you guys been in existence?
Well, we were formed in 2016, right? Steve Crofter from Rockingham got the idea. It's his brainchild. He had been down to Texas to volunteer there at an overnight, what do you call it? It's a sanctuary, but that gets to be a confusing word. So it's a place where people who were coming out of prison and on their way to another place in the United States to live with a sponsor or a family.
Yeah. Looks like a
Would
transition.
come
sort of.
and
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
clothing and stay overnight.
Yeah.
And he thought, why not have them come up to Vermont? It's a
And
beautiful
sort of
place.
Steve sort of was the colonel then and brought everybody together, and because it seems like you have quite a good organization now. I mean, for only being basically 2 years old, you've really come a long way fast.
Yeah, we have about a 7-person board, I think, and but a very large support network. One example of that is we had the Welcome Center down on Interstate 91, you know, where you provide refreshments, and not exactly in exchange, but sort of, you get donations. Well, we had about 70 people involved in the baking and the transporting and
nice,
the
yeah.
welcoming, and from Guilford up to Springfield, quite an extensive network.
And community businesses also donated, food and drinks.
Yeah.
The community has been just amazing.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
well, I'm proud of that, I
And,
guess.
and-
Yeah.
and I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. I think we have a very good community here.
Yeah. So how many people would you say you have now that you're serving?
We have, we've had a family from Mexico, a mother and 2 children. They're the ones you saw, the children are the ones you saw in the video.
Mm-hmm.
They've been here for almost exactly a year. The 2 children go to a local school, 1st and 3rd or 4th grade, I think. And they've been totally welcomed by everybody. It's really wonderful. And then we have another couple from Honduras who live in Brattleboro. They've been here 4 or 5 months, I guess. And then just within the last month, we received a woman and her 10-year-old daughter. They had been in another state living with family, but the family just couldn't economically support them anymore.
Right.
So their attorney contacted us, and we're putting them up now. They're over in Westminster with a family.
So as of now, we have 7 people, and we're looking for a couple more families. We have a couple more host homes
Right,
that
right.
are opening
Oh,
soon.
really? You have the
Yeah.
homes, but that must be one of your needs, right? is
No,
to-
absolutely. Yeah,
is-
the host homes are the challenge.
Uh-huh.
There's plenty of people seeking asylum, either from the border or, as I just described, from other states when the situation gets difficult. But it's asking a lot of a host home
Yeah,
to put
yeah.
up strangers indefinitely, really.
Yeah, and what do you look at when you're looking at host homes? What's an ideal host home?
Well, there has to be a good space.
Uh-huh.
So a large bedroom and a family base for the family.
Yeah.
That can take many different
Yeah,
forms.
yeah.
We have one host home where the people who own the home are extremely busy professionally, but they've surrounded themselves with a team of people who take care of the family during the daytime when they can't be there. And that's one thing that we do. We develop teams around host homes, so they're not alone providing everything.
Right. Because I guess you're looking to the future, and you're trying to integrate people into our community and into
Exactly.
our country,
Yes.
and so
Right.
you want to have a group of people that are are going to do that. Allow them contact, allow them abilities to
Yeah.
to
That's
gain
right.
skills and do whatever they need to do in order to
That's right.
transition into being a citizen.
Yes, and so our ultimate goal is their independence.
Yeah, right. So, I guess, well, I have so many questions now. Marty, I'll let you.
I guess that was my one question is your ultimate goal for them to find their own housing, to find a job, to transition into, to apply
Right.
for citizenship. And on average, how long could that potentially take? Like if someone's a host family, how long potentially would they
Well,
be hosting?
We are a new organization, so we're finding out as we go along. But we know that the asylum process itself can take as much as 3 years. After asylum seekers file their formal papers, which takes a while, they may have to write as much as a 50-page explanation of what they left. But anyway, if after they do that formal submission of their papers, 6 months after that, they're able to get a green card. It's not until then that they can work.
Right.
So we have encouraged them to do volunteer work because we think it's really helpful for them
That's a good point.
to begin to get integrated and to use their English skills, which is a major part of the problem.
Yeah.
Plus it gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of being able
Yes.
to give back.
That's
Exactly.
right. In
That's
fact,
probably
Exactly.
important.
of the 3 families we have, 2 of them are volunteering. One's volunteering at our place here in Bellows Falls, and the couple in Brattleboro are volunteering at a similar place in Brattleboro. And they both said, we want to give back.
Yeah.
We appreciate so much what's being done for us. We want to give back. And of course, they also make contacts and maybe offer jobs or something like that. Because as you said, the image really is that they've moved here forever. They're not going home.
Yeah.
And that's sad because they're leaving family, the whole environment that they're used to, but they have to accept that. And then they need to get integrated into the community. And that's one of the things we're challenged with, getting them to know people when language is such a problem, getting them jobs, preparing them for the jobs, and so on. But
Because it's sort of they're in a desperate, they're in desperate need because of they're fleeing, basically.
Sure.
At some point, they made a decision that I can't live here any longer, and they left.
sure.
Exactly.
And so I'm sure they did, that's not like it may be somewhat planned process, but I can't imagine it's very. I imagine you're like, it's time to hit the road.
And, you know, one image of the immigrant is that they move for economic benefit. For instance, you might immigrate from New Hampshire to Vermont to get a better job, or from California to New York. And that's true, that's immigration too.
Right.
When they cross the border because of laws and so on, it's different. But that's not the situation we're dealing with here. We're dealing with people who are in fear,
Of their-
you know, who've been
for their life,
traumatized,
yeah.
who are leaving family, their entire network that surrounds them. And most of the Latin American communities are very strong with their community, and they're leaving all that. They'll never see that again. So this is not economic benefit
Right.
migration. This is fear migration.
This is life or death.
Yeah,
In many cases,
really,
I'm guessing. yeah.
absolutely.
And it's happening not just here, but all over the world. I mean, that's
Oh, yes.
Yes.
one of the things that they were talking about, people leaving Africa and leaving
Yes.
Syria and leaving
Yes.
other places because of the violence that's occurring
Yeah.
and the disruption that's happening in normal society, and whether you call normal society, but
Yeah.
in what was once stable societies are now unstable and falling apart.
That's right.
Yes.
If someone was watching the show and they were interested in helping out, what steps could people take to help?
I would strongly recommend going to our website, which is CASP, caspvermont.org or caspvt.org. There, anybody can find out all about us and how to donate. We need so many, just a huge variety of things. So we need people's talents, we need their money, we need clothing that's in good condition. But it's really amazing the variety of things that can help a family group. It can be a play date. It can be making some kind of holiday goodie. But having that experience of being together is really meaningful.
Yeah.
And meaningful for both sides. I
That's
happen to
true.
know that the person who works as a maintenance person here is one of your volunteers, and he tells me all about how it's how it's rewarding for him to be able to go and do these things. In the practical sense, he's trying to keep up his Spanish, so he's like, and I get to practice my Spanish, and I get to talk, and we get to do these things, and it's really not just, you're helping, but you're getting a lot back, too.
That's true. And we're giving a lot to a few people, and so we can see them grow, we can see them change. We're with them when they stumble.
Yeah.
It is amazingly fulfilling.
I think it's a truism that everybody benefits when cultures mix. And that's what's happening here. Vermont is a very homogeneous state, relatively
true.
speaking, and we're benefiting by having these people from Honduras and Mexico here to show us a different culture and a different way of eating. I tell you, the mother of those two children who are in the video is a wonderful cook.
Oh,
I invite them all over to my house frequently and turn them loose in the kitchen. It's really great. Oh yeah, yeah. And they play with the local. I live in Saxons River, and they play with children in the village. And my grandchildren come up and visit. And they play with them. They're roughly the same age.
Uh-huh.
They go biking at Vermont Academy.
Oh, great.
It's really
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
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 Do you have any, do you do community, benefit events or things for fundraisers? What
Yes.
ways that people could kind of maybe mingle or interact in person?
Yeah, that's one of the things we need volunteers for. We table at art festivals during the summer, like in Peru and Newfane, places like that. We speak at churches. The churches have been very supportive in this area of our program. The guests themselves from Mexico and Honduras speak at schools. They've spoken at KUA, where Dorothy teaches. So we go to great pains to educate the community
Right.
about who these people are, why they're here, and what a benefit they are to us and we to them. So there's a lot of.
Would you say that's generally working out, that it's for every appearance you make, you build support?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we have hundreds of people on our contact list, and nationwide. Yeah. We just recently did an online fundraiser and made quite a bit of money. That's what we made this video for that you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And we had donors from literally across the country, the Midwest, California,
Really?
all over. Yeah.
I guess then the follow-on question is the Community Asylum Seekers project, is it local to Vermont, or is it? Are you part of a nationwide movie?
Well, we're
movement?
not. We're
No.
not. At this point, we are only in Vermont.
You're starting it.
However, we have supporters
Yeah,
who
yeah.
are nationwide.
Yeah. And our image is that sort of like a plant. We
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
sending out branches
Well, that's
to
what I'm
other
thinking.
parts of
Yeah.
Vermont. People on our board are from New Hampshire, so we're already reaching there. But as Dorothy just said, there's no organization like us in Vermont. There are others in the nation. There's one down in Boston that's been here for 20 years. But they handle immigrants in general, not just asylum
Not just
seekers.
asylum seekers, yeah.
We're kind of unique in that
Mhm.
regard. But we we are reaching out, and as soon as we get ourselves stable,
Right.
we'll help somebody else do the same thing, we hope.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But you
our
may
goal.
never be stable. You may always be growing, which
Yeah.
would actually be
Well, I think
ideal.
we
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
be.
That would be amazing. That would be
Our
great.
problem all along has been the host homes, and we're suddenly getting quite a few volunteers
Oh, great.
to put up folks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people have been so upset just with what's happening at
Oh,
our
yeah.
borders, and this is something that people can do. So it's therapeutic for us. We can feel better
Mm-hmm.
as we give in this way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very good point, because a lot of times we hear the news and we do feel helpless.
Mhm.
Because we kind of are insulated here, we're kind of isolated, and that would be something that you can feel like you're doing something, you can feel like you're making a difference.
You know, another thing that really struck me is how easy it is to be callous and indifferent in general. But when you meet real people and realize how they're like you,
Oh,
that
yeah,
is difficult. The family from Mexico was at my house on the 4th of July, just passing through, and I had some relatives there. And as a result of that contact, one of my relatives is now giving monthly through PayPal because she actually met the people
Right. Oh, yeah.
and
I
saw
can
them as
imagine.
real
'Cause,
people.
yeah.
And it makes such a difference.
Yes.
They're not,
They're not just
they're not
nameless
weirdos.
beings.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
the enemy.
Yeah.
And
They're
they're
not
oftentimes-
threatening.
They're not them. They're
Yeah,
us.
they're us.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And their families too. I think that people don't realize
Yes.
their families.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, maybe just like a mom and her children too,
Right.
not even entire families.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important. I think we have this, this image, and I think we forget that
Yeah.
they're just. It's what
People.
is it saying? There by the
Right.
grace of God,
Yes,
that,
yeah,
exactly.
that anybody could be in that position.
So,
So-
what one thing would you like to get out today? What's the most important message? Because we're like you
Running
said,
out of time.
I know you said, you were saying, I don't know how I'm going to sit here for 27 minutes, but now we're down to 12 seconds, and we just got
Come
started.
and join us.
Yes, yeah. We have lots of roles for lots of people. It's hard work, but it's very energizing.
And
And
rewarding.
it makes a difference in the world. You can make a big difference in a little way right here in beautiful Bellows Falls.
Yes. So I would piggyback on what Marty said, and is if you're frustrated and you feel helpless, this is a way you can do something.
Yeah.
And and it doesn't have to be big, as you just
Yeah,
said. I
that's
I
right.
like that. That was a perfect quote.
Just a play date.
Yeah.
Just a ride to the store and go shopping together for groceries or something like that. Or give the folks a chance to work for your business
Mm-hmm.
as interns or
Well,
whatever.
thank you both
Yeah.
for coming,
Yeah.
and thank you for all the
Thank
great
you
work
for
you're
having
doing.
us.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll come back, and maybe we can do a follow-up here in a little bit. I hope
That
you're
would
more
be great.
relaxed than you were at the beginning. And thank you, that's it for us. We'll see you
See you
next
next
week,
week.
Bellows Falls.
That's it, folks, for the feed. Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Also, find us on Facebook at Fact TV or tell us what you think. thefeed8@gmail.com. And don't forget to watch the feed online at www.fact8.com.